welcome on the second reset day, the intimate circle where we can join and share and maybe also experience a little bit about what it is to set boundaries, what it is to use boundaries as the system, the architecture for our energy conservation. I know because of the work I do with women leaders that energy is something that is very high on our list in terms of how do we keep it? Where do we lose it? Why do we lose it? And so I thought this is a great moment before holidays. Well, after Thanksgiving, which is in certain areas of the world already a very hectic period, people traveling, having to get presents, having to visit family, well, wanting to visit family, but also just before the year ends. Actually, where again things are very hectic and we want to make sure that everything is set for a new year to start clearly and cleanly. So I thought there was a good moment. I want to invite you to just take a moment to really lean in here. The moment that we put our first foot out of our bed, we start thinking what we have to do, what we must do, what we didn't do yesterday, all the commitments and obligations that we have. And so I would like to use this short time frame also for you as a moment to land. So I just invite you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and just let go of everything that you were doing before you came in here and everything that you still have to do when you leave here. Everybody that is needing you, that wants something from you, just let them all go. If you want, just shake it off. Just let it go so you can be fully present. So today, our intention is basically to tune into the subtle, to understand when we lose energy, when our energy is leaking, to be aware of it before our mind starts to think of it, or before we have like, I shouldn't have done that. I said, yes, I shouldn't have done that. So yesterday we were trying to really noticing where, in what moment we were losing energy. Today we're going to try to understand how our body is already giving us signals before we even say yes, before we even get into the action in order to do something that is not serving us, because that's basically where most of our energy is leaking. There's a lot of things that take our energy that we can manage, that we can navigate. And the first signs that we are doing things that don't serve us, the first signs that we are going to lose energy are in our body. So I'm curious to understand where you are with this wisdom. Is that something that you already experience, or is this something really new for you that you can really feel in your body before the event is happening, that you are going to lose your energy? How does that land with you? As women, we have been raised and learned to be nice, to be friendly, to be helpful, to be at service, to be loyal, not to be confrontational. And all these things are things that we carry with us. And we just have created patterns and routines and habits that keep us in that energy leakage. Very easy examples, especially with children, is like where do you draw a line for your me time, right? I had a client, high-level client, that came here with me in Spain for a retreat for a long weekend, so 3 days. And she came here, arrived, and I immediately could feel in her energy that there was something not in flow. And so it took a while before she opened up, and she said, before I left, I had a big argument with my husband because my husband is used to go cycling every weekend. And because now I go for this weekend on this leadership retreat, he cannot go because he has to take care of our daughter. And he was very upset because he could not go have fun with his friends. And I said, okay, That's extremely interesting. And I think that if we hear this story, we don't even have to think about how probably we would respond to that. But we are all doing similar things very often where we feel guilty or we let other people blame us for things that we want to do for ourselves because it has an impact on other people that are so used to see us as there for them. Does that make sense? Do you recognize that? If you don't say anything and just do it and keep doing it, you feel resentment. If you say something and you have a confrontation or an argument, you lose energy. So there's so many ways that we can lose energy in that kind of situations. And it's just because a lot of people, I call them stakeholders, if you take them in a broader context, like personal, in corporate life, or as an entrepreneur, there's so many stakeholders that have expectations. And sometimes we're running around trying to comply with all the different expectations. How does that feel? Do you recognize that in your lives? So how do you set boundaries there is basically what contract do you want to have with yourself? What agreement do you have with yourself and how you want to show up and where you put your priority for yourself? And this is something that we absolutely also going to work on in the next couple of days. But the first thing that is very important, I'm not sure if this is something that you struggle with, is about recognizing even before you say yes, even before you get up to do that, even before you take the phone again, your mother calling for the 7th time that day, for example, what does your body say? Yeah. And how does your body warns you that this is not basically the best thing for you, that this behavior or this, what you are going to do is not serving you. And so there's basically a power in catching that first shift. And the reason that we often lose it is because a lot of us are high achieving women and we are very much in our minds, planning, strategizing, organizing, preparing, all these things. So it's all in our mind. And so sometimes we are already doing it before we even understand that it's too much for us, or it's not our thing to do, or it's not the priority that somebody else gives to it. And Hilary, you say I started my own business. It is true that when you are an entrepreneur, you have more freedom there. These energy leaks that you have in organizations with toxic environments where the human part has disappeared in an organization, there's a lot more of these. And even there, we are basically, again, going in our brain. And sometimes we are in our, I would say, in our fight or flight brain if things like that happen. And then afterwards, we start, if we have the time, reflecting, we shouldn't have done that. I've gone too far. I committed too much. I lost too much time there. And then we start with the regret or the resentment. So there's a lot of mind things going on. And so the idea is to build body awareness when you feel invited or when somebody is really pushing you into a situation or an action or an activity that to do it because you don't see any other option. It is understanding that the awareness before you jump into it also gives you the option and gives you kind of the door to learn to implement a different behavior. And if I'm talking about body awareness, I'm talking about different places in our body where this sign, this subtle sign, this signal can come up. And I'm going to just mention them. And I want you to think for yourself, is that something that I have experienced, maybe more unconsciousness or maybe not having paid attention to it, but is it something that I have experienced? And so I invite you to think of something where you felt that you were losing energy, a recent situation, just bring it back. Normally, it's very easy to bring back these situations where you are frustrated or irritated or resentful. So just bring it back to you and notice in your body if you feel something coming up, and notice where. And it could be in your throat. It could be in your chest, something heavy, something tense. Could be in your solar plexus. Could be in your belly. It could be your breath. You start breathing differently. Also be in your muscles being more tense. Do you notice something? Just think of it. When you had this flicker of discomfort, this tiny pause, or the quiet no, or the breath that went shallow, what was that very first signal for you? And don't take it too far. Just connect with yourself in silence and recall what you noticed without any judgment. And here's the thing, this signal is not a warning, it is information, and it's a doorway into your energy architecture. And when you honor it, patterns will shift long before conflict, long before exhaustion, or long before resentment appears. So I'm giving you this to understand the deeper purpose of the practice in terms of go into your body and notice the signs, notice where it is, and use that as a learning moment. So let's do the deeper exercise together, a short embodied practice. So recall the moment where you were losing energy, where you noticed you were losing energy. Take it back in and locate the first signal in your body. Was it your throat? Was it your chest? Was it your solar plexus? Your belly? Muscle tension? And place a hand there. If it feels comfortable, place a hand on that place. And ask, what are you trying to tell me? And then listen without needing a full answer. Just be present with what that part of you is trying to tell you. Very good. And so for the rest of the day, or the rest of the week, or just in general, keep noticing that first internal signal in real time. You don't have to act on it, just acknowledge it. Keep building that awareness in different areas of your life, in different roles of your life. And here's the thing, this might feel a little bit awkward if you're not used to do that, but like with so many things, the practice will land time after time, deeper and deeper. And this sensitivity is not fragility, it is strength. What we are doing is we are building strength and understanding that learning to hear and to feel that first signal changes everything. So today, let your body speak first and let your mind follow. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.